I've got Kenneth with me, and he's our Singapore partner. And hi, Kenneth. So, in this video, we would try to answer some of the queries which we regularly get when we approach clients and businesses in terms of why they should register in Singapore, or in terms of taxation, in terms of IP regulations, and other related aspects. So, Kenneth, let's start this video. And
Okay.
I would want to know why businesses should go and register in Singapore.
Okay, mainly why clients from India coming to Singapore. There are many reasons, but one of the biggest reason is there is a tax incentive. Basically, our taxes are one of the lowest in Asia, and also we have most importantly is we have no capital gain for businesses. So, for instance, you can move your intellectual property rights to Singapore, and let's say if you grow intellectual property rights to a big amount later on, then once you probably sell off to another business owner, there will not be any capital gain in this nature.
So what you're saying, Kenneth, is that one is with regard to the low corporate tax. The corporate
Yes,
tax,
correct.
I think maximum is 17%. But up to
Yes.
but up to what limit there is no tax?
Pardon? Can you repeat yourself again?
I'm saying up to what limit there is no tax? I mean, till what slab there is no tax?
Okay, basically, in Singapore, especially for new startups companies, basically there is tax exemption for the first 3 years. However, because due to recent past 1 year, there are some amendment to the tax exemption. Still, it is still more beneficial. For instance, if your profit for the first $100,000, if you qualify for the new startup exemption scheme, you get 75% exempted from your profit. So the balance remaining 25% will be taxed.
Okay. So the average comes to around 13-14% initially, or less than that.
Should I say it is very low? Let's say, for instance, we're talking for a new startup. If you qualify for a new tax exemption, for the first 100,000, you get up to 75% discount. So let's say we're talking about $100,000 profit. So you are being exempted off the first 75% of it, which is 75,000. So you only tax at 25,000. So at 25,000, you times, let's say, at 17%. The tax is probably only, I think, 4,000 plus. So the effective tax rate for the first 100,000 is less than 5%.
Incredible. So number one reason is with regard to low corporate tax.
Yes, definitely.
So Kenneth, in India, all the companies are required to have mandatory audits. So they need to get the books of accounts audited by a chartered accountant in India. So is that also mandatory in Singapore?
Okay, in Singapore, audit is not mandatory, but however, you must qualify for 3 criteria. Out of these 3 criteria, if you meet 2 of these criteria, then you are compulsory. Basically, we should not be complicating things. We're talking about individual shareholders. So, for instance, if a company incorporated with a few individual shareholders, and if you qualify under the exempted private company scheme, which has these 3 criteria, basically these 3 criteria are your total assets for the financial is 10 million Singapore dollars. Your total annual revenue does not exceed $10 million, and you do not have more than 50 employees. These are the 3 criteria set upon by the government regulators. Out of these 3, if you hit 2, if you manage to hit 2, then audit is compulsory. If not, if you don't achieve any of these 2 criteria, then audit is not compulsory.
So that's a big relief for businesses. So if they don't hit 2 of these 3 conditions, audit is not mandatory. And the 3 conditions which you have suggested is 10 million of assets, or 10 million of revenue, or 50 employees. So any of these 2 conditions, then you have to have the audit mandatory.
As long as you exceed more than 10 million in terms of annual revenue, or your total assets exceed more than 10 million, or your total employees exceed more than 50 employees, yes, that is compulsory to undergo audit.
So Kenneth, another point, what about GST? What is the GST rate in Singapore, and when do we need to register for GST?
In Singapore, our GST rate is actually 7%, and we have no reverse charge GST. Unlike India, I understand there's a reverse charge.
Yeah.
In Singapore, our GST is a straightforward one. Our standard rated GST is 7%. We also have zero rated GST, which is usually meant for export or for export sales, or we have even exempted supplies for GST too.
And the initial limit is $1 million.
Yes, basically in Singapore, for any businesses, you can voluntarily register for GST. However, you stay on the scheme for minimum of 2 years. But then, in order to attract businesses for the start, I do recommend you to register for GST. However, if let's say for the first year or even like within 6 months, if you achieve more than $1 million of sales, or you're almost close to $1 million of sales, let's say, then you're compulsory to actually register for GST. It's mandatory under the law, which is which is $1 million above. And if you fail to register for GST, once you hit $1 million, any GST incurred will be borne by the businesses by itself.
Okay, that's great. Kenneth, one more very frequent questions which we keep getting from our clients. That is, in India, you need to have at least two shareholders. So you have to have two shareholders to register a company. Many times,
Yes.
a single founder do not have someone as a co-founder, and he's forced to bring on board someone from his family or friend to be another shareholder just for the paperwork. In Singapore, do we have the same law? Do we need two shareholders?
Okay, in Singapore, basically to start a company, you just only need one shareholder will do.
So
And this shareholder
one shareholder will do.
yeah, just one will do. You can be an individual shareholder, you can be a corporate shareholder. So hence, basically, for a start, I would recommend for cheaper compliance costs, you usually start with one individual shareholder will be better. However, in Singapore, besides having a shareholder, you must comply with it. You must have a local director. So basically, you must have a minimum one shareholder, one local resident director, and one company secretary to start a company.
So we as a firm, our firm, and we help businesses to have a nominee director. We have helped more than 50 clients in last 3 months, wherein we help them to have a nominee director. But tell me, so this is also a confusion when many people get confused. Who can be a nominee director? Who can be a director in Singapore?
Okay, basically a nominee director is actually a local resident director, and this person must be a Singapore citizen or Singapore permanent resident holder.
That's great. So you have to either you are a EP or you are a Singapore national.
Yes, correct.
Then only you can be a director in the company. That's the reason.
Right.
That's the reason. When we help companies to register, we have to give our nominee director services to clients, and that helps them.
Yes. So basically, the nominee director has to be a local citizen or a permanent resident holder.
Also, we would want to understand one more point with regard to company secretary. So in India, there is no concept of appointing a company secretary for private limited or for exempted companies. What is the role in Singapore with respect to company secretary?
Okay, under the Companies Act, it is compulsory to appoint a company secretary. The role of a company secretary is to ensure that our major events of a company will be lodged with the government regulators. In the events such as change of shareholders, change of directors, or even change of residential address, contact details, or even change of your business register address, or even change of your business activities. You need to inform your company secretary to assist you to prepare the board resolution, passed through by the board of directors, and then to lodge with the company regulators. And failure to comply, all this will result in more fines. So it's actually the more professional to engage a professional company secretary to assist in your compliance lodgement.
Okay, one more thing which we keep getting is do Indian shareholder or directors need to fly down to Singapore to open the bank account? How many people are required to open the bank account there?
Okay, to open a bank account, basically one shareholder has to be down, and the shareholder also can act as a company director at the same time. So as I have spoken that you need at least minimum one local director. So basically the shareholder as a foreigner himself can also be a company director. However, you have to properly consider whether you will take on as a foreign directorship, because if you later on wants to become a Singapore permanent resident, then you will have some issues. But however, we are not talking on this point, we're talking more on the bank account. So back to the bank account, I would like to highlight that minimum one shareholder will do. However, if you have 2 or 3 shareholders, the shareholder is flying down to Singapore. Just remember to bring a copy and certified true copy of the other remaining shareholders' passport copy to bring to Singapore. And together with the local director, we will assist you to open a bank account with the bankers available.
So thanks, Kenneth, for that. So there are few other things which we keep getting, and since I get these queries, let us clarify those. So this is to all our viewers. We as firm, wherein Kenneth and our firm, we work together, and we have a very strong JV working in Singapore, wherein we are building the largest firm from Southeast Asia, and we actually render comprehensive services in Singapore, from registration, from nominee director services, company secretary services, registered office. We also do annual filings, we do ACRA filings. We are now starting the legal practice also in Singapore, and so because I keep getting these queries, can you do accounting, can you do tax filing? So I wanted to set the record straight to our viewers and to our clients that we do help complete services, and we have created a very strong India-Singapore bridge, wherein businesses in Singapore can actually take our help from our office in Singapore or from our office in India if they have anything in India, and also Indian businesses wherein we are helping them to go to Singapore and take the advantage of the ecosystem in Singapore, grow their market in Southeast Asia, raise funds there, use the disruptive technology ecosystem. So I think, Kenneth, it was very important for us to clarify these things today. And thanks for taking out time for this video. And we will continue to do this kind of small, short videos which will help our clients and our viewers and more in future. So thanks for that. I know you're not keeping well. So thank
you. No worries, no worries. It's a pleasure to actually speak to you also.
Thank you. Thanks, Kenneth.
Yeah, thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.